Hello, Chiquis!
Welcome to Chatty Amigas, a podcast where two friends approach everyday problems and find practical solutions.
We are your hosts. I'm Mafe.
And I'm Ella.
And in today's podcast, we will be spilling the tea on Bridesmaids.
Ooh, good tea. Yes.
Bring it!
Bring it. Everyone likes to hate on this sometimes. I think, right? It's always like, oh, gossipy, like Bridesmaids. Oh. Like, I feel like that's such a good mixture of drama.
Yes, it is. I agree.
So wedding season is approaching. Brides are getting ready to choose their loved ones to be a part of this spectacular and special day. What are your bridesmaid bill of rights? It's a thing apparently. And brides, how can you make sure you ask the best people in your life?
Oh, those are some good questions. So good tea today. Let's jump right in.
Okay, so we did some research, and apparently there's been so much happening in the bridal world, in the wedding community, should I say?
And it's a thing. It's a thing.
People get upset, and it's like, I've been, okay, Mafe, how many weddings have you been in?
I've been a bridesmaid in one and a maid of honor in one. So just two weddings.
Really? My wedding was your first one?
Yes.
Dang,
so
girl.
for those of you that know both of us, you guys know that I was in Mela's wedding party and I was a bridesmaid. Yeah, and that was my very first wedding that I was a part of.
I hope I was a nice bride.
Yeah.
Oh God, the high-pitched yeah. I know. I thought I was
No. You were fine. I mean, we all had our moments where we kind of struggled, and there was just a lot of stress. There were moments that there were high stress situations that
yes.
I don't blame you.
It wasn't my fault. I didn't do anything.
No, it was just a lot of stress. And
it wasn't me. It was just around us.
It was everything.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yes. No, it wasn't you. It was everything around us happening. And I think we managed as best as we could. And at the end of the day, I had an absolute blast at the wedding. So at the end of the day, we had fun. It was just kind of stressful. And again, it was my very first wedding. It was just sort of rough for me. It was kind of rocky because I didn't have a lot of knowledge on what to do and how to help you. But I remember
you were so supportive.
I think your sister was a great maid of honor. And I remember she had sent us some articles to help us make sure we were as supportive as we could without overstressing ourselves, without it becoming a burden, I should say. So that was really helpful. So thank you, Michelle.
I remember when I became a bride, my sister was my maid of honor, like you said. I did get her a book on how to, because I didn't do it in a way to whip. We're not the type of people to crack or whip, no, peasants. We recognize that these are our friends that we love dearly, and we want to make sure that when they're a part of it, that, that things go peacefully, that they feel heard, that they feel like people, because they are the people we love. I'm including you because I'm, and the fact that my friends even accepted it, honestly, was such an honor. To this day, I'm just so grateful. So the how to and how to deal was, because it's such a high emotional process, things get thrown at you that you'd never think about that would. And then it's dang, what do we do? So the point was, we wanted to prepare everyone with possibilities of what can happen and how to get out of it unscathed. It wasn't you needed to be like this and you need to weigh 0 pounds and you need to fit a -3 dress. It was nothing like that. I was just grateful my friends showed up. That stuff I couldn't care less about, But yes, so because apparently it's been very intense, Bridezilla is apparently a thing. There are some people that are too demanding of the people in their lives. It's gotten to the point where somebody decided to make up a bridesmaid bill of rights, so people are treated like people, which I find to be sad.
I know. It's they're not your slaves.
No, they don't even have to show up. They're there out of kindness. So as a bride, remember you love them, right? That's the
Mhm.
whole point. Like, don't pick people willy-nilly. Just pick the people you love. This isn't a contest. This isn't a show. It's a commitment you're making with your significant other, and it's like, okay, this is serious. I'm going into this seriously. Like, it's a heavy, serious commitment. And
Mhm.
that is the point. It's not the party. Okay. It's not the flowers. It's not the cake. It's not the showing off, oh, look how popular I am.
Right.
It's the actual commit. That's what's important. The rest is
Mhm.
bonus. It's
Right.
nice. It isn't serious, but what's really serious is the ceremony. And
Mhm.
I think people need to get that in their head, and they forget. I don't really understand why. I guess I don't know. People get very emotional, like I said, but it's gotten to the point where there's a bridesmaid bill of rights. So we're gonna go into that
Mhm.
because sometimes brides need to know, like, can I do this? Can I not do that? You know, so just to make sure everything is neutral, that everyone is treated like a person,
Mhm.
because some people overreact and they're dramatic and they're like, but you could do this, it's not a big deal, but it is a big deal. And sometimes when you're
Right.
the victim of the situation, and you don't realize you're the victim because you're not expecting, it's like, am I overreacting? Am I being the jerk? Like, what's happening? And no. So we're gonna tell you what your bill of rights are.
And
Ready?
and
Go ahead.
sometimes, sorry,
No, you're good.
sometimes I think it's important that you said that you're choosing the people that you love to be a part of this with you, right?
Mhm.
And you want to make sure that they know what they're getting into, but that they also have fun, that they also enjoy themselves, and that they understand that if you as a bride if you're very firm about something, you're not being bridezilla, you're being, you're sure of what you want, and you're asking for it because of, you have your reasons, if you need them to arrive at a certain time, or X, Y, and Z, right? It's not because you're trying to be demanding and be a bridezilla. It's because you have your reasons. You want to be organized. You want to be, on time, or you want to make sure everything goes smoothly because, I mean, as a bride, you are very stressed. But it's good to just keep that in mind. Some brides don't
It's not
don't
that
don't,
they're,
don't demand
yeah.
things just because they want to be
It's
mean.
just because they're putting money and time. It's
Mhm.
respect. They want to respect everyone around them, their guests, their family, their actual marriage. So if they ask you to be on time, just be on time.
Yes.
It's not that serious.
Right.
Um, Also, I want to also tell you my experience as in weddings.
Weddings is
I was married. I am married.
oh girl, oh
Oh
girl.
Lord, please.
Eric
I'm
is
sorry,
like,
boo boo. That was no. I am married. So I did go through that experience. I have also been a bridesmaid for 3 weddings.
Mhm.
Yes, and I've been a maid of honor for 1, and I was asked to be a bridesmaid for 2, and I've declined those 2. So I've been in this activity scene, I guess, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, not including my wedding. So, which
Yeah.
is why I also chose to do the book for my sister, and my sister chose to also reach out to the girls to be like, here, this is what you can do to get out of sticky situations, because I've seen them.
Mhm.
And it's not really fair to throw your girls out there and like kind of in the ocean with no buoy to like stay afloat. So that
Right.
was your buoy.
Yeah.
But all right, so let's jump into it. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I can go ahead.
Okay.
So this website that Mela found, the Bridesmaids Bill of Rights. The first one, you have the right to say no. So of course, like we have just mentioned, being a bridesmaid it's an honor. It is, you're gonna be part of this amazing day for the couple, but it's also going to involve some level of effort. So of course that means that if you get asked, it is okay to say no if you don't feel like you can emotionally or physically or financially handle it. So you have the right to say no. You're not forced to be a bridesmaid. So perhaps you cannot afford it. Maybe if they have like a destination wedding, maybe you're not able to travel to the wedding, or maybe you've never even met your future sister-in-law, so you don't feel like a need to be in one of those like 14 bridesmaid groups. If you've never met her, it's all right to say no. So that's okay. And of course, it may affect your friendship, but we cannot, of course, guarantee that saying no will be like without friction. But you're not a bad person for saying you just cannot be a bridesmaid.
And can I just speak as someone that was a bride?
Mhm.
This is the thing. I know like bridesmaid proposals are a thing. And it's really nice, but I don't think it's fair to throw people into bridesmaid proposals unexpectedly because it puts a burden on your friends. We don't know their financial situations. We don't know if they mentally can handle it. It's just unfair. So what I did was I decided to have a private conversation with each girl separately. And I told them, hey, so I'm planning on getting married. This is the date. This is the time. This is how much I need to as contribution if you were to be a bridesmaid. Is this something that you can handle? Because I would like you to be my bridesmaid. If not, that's fine. We will still keep being the good friends we are. I care more about you than this. Like I'd rather you be my friend and I care more about our relationship than you like showing up and not being able to do it. I don't want to put that pressure on you as my friend because I love you. And then I told them like house rules that I had. So like being on time, to buy their dresses at a certain time frame because I want to make sure that everything fit modestly.
And it was
I wanted,
proper.
I wanted a modest wedding. So it was stuff like that. And then I also assigned everyone a role in my wedding just to make sure things went smoothly. Like we had a timekeeper, we had someone to like make sure that there was like no violence kind of thing. Not that I was expecting violence, but people get crazy sometimes. And so we just, everyone had a role. Like I had my bridesmaids very active, I feel, in my wedding. Some brides choose not to do that. And then I let my brides know, my friends know, my bridesmaids, future ideally bridesmaids know, and everyone took it really well and they all accepted. And then did a bridesmaid proposal because I feel like that's cute. And you know what? If they're going to invest time, energy, and effort in my wedding, the least I can do is a little celebration with them. And so that's what I did. And I did a different proposal for every one of my bridesmaids because they lived in different parts of the world. And some don't. Some just do the same bridesmaid proposal in a group. And I think that's perfectly fine too. But it's just fair to have that conversation and not ask them, put them in a corner where they have to say yes and be like, oh, by the way, it's going to be $1,000. Like, that's not fair. That's not loving. Let your friends know
Exactly.
beforehand. Yeah.
I think that's really nice that you share your own experience because it makes it really hard to decline if you're being asked in public in front of people. And now you feel like pressure to say yes, and you don't even know what's involved or what's going being asked from you to do. So letting them know what you expect or the things you need or maybe like more or less how much is going to be before you do a proposal, I think that's just very loving to do. Something just nice.
Yeah. Have a honest, frank conversation with your friend. They're your friends after all. Like, what's the problem?
Exactly. Number 2. I just did number 1. It's your
you
turn.
want me to go? Okay. I thought we were doing.
That's right. I'm sorry. I'm so dumb. We're doing 3. You guys, Lord have mercy. Yes. So number 2, your budget is respected. So of course, we get it. Nobody agrees to be a bridesmaid thinking she's going to spend $20 on the wedding. Of course, some money is going to be playing a big role in this. You have to buy a dress, perhaps a gift. You might have to contribute to the shower and bachelorette parties. So you have to get yourself to and from the wedding, and you're of course gonna spend some time of money, trying to look pretty. You're gonna get your hair did, your nails, whatever else stuff you're gonna make up, all the other good stuff you need. So you're gonna spend some money into that. So how much money though? So of course that's a personal choice and decision. And of course there's some limits, but if your shower budget is $50, that's it. If you cannot afford a weekend in New Orleans or a weekend getaway, I don't know, Las Vegas, wherever, that's okay. You have the right to let the bride know, listen, I want to be there for you, but This is my budget. I cannot go over my budget. This is the amount I can afford. So that's okay, because that just shows that you're a good friend when you can share and you're open with the bride and let them know, I would love to do this, but I cannot. I'm gonna have to sit this one out. Have a great friend, take pictures, share them with me, whatever. So a good friend is gonna be able to listen to that and just, appreciate that you're being honest with them.
I had two experiences when it comes to finances. So one of them was one of the weddings I actually declined to be in. And we'll talk more in detail about that. But essentially, I was asked to be a bridesmaid. I couldn't afford it because I had just finished being a bridesmaid a month before. And this girl was like, I want you to be my bridesmaid. My wedding is in like 4 months. I'm like, oh my God, like I can't afford that. Like I was a student. Like it's just not realistic. So I said to her, look, I would love to be in your wedding, but I can't afford it. I can only pay for my dress. I can only afford X amount, and that's it. Like I can't contribute in anything whatsoever. So, okay, cool. She was okay with it. We had this whole conversation. She told her maid of honor about it. It wasn't an issue apparently. So then we did the dress shopping. The dresses were around the range because I gave a rough estimate. I didn't say 130 exactly on the dot. Like I gave her a window because I'm also aware that depending where you go, the price changes, and like sometimes it's a $10 difference. Can you pay the $10 more? Probably, So we were bridesmaid shopping, and there was something involving a dress that was like a costing. So it was I remember what it was. I was okay with I was okay with the dress price. Listen to this. I was okay with the dress price, but one of the bridesmaids made us stink over $15. And she's like, I can't afford it, blah, blah, blah. I know she could afford it. She's being a child about it. So I pulled the bride to the side and I said, look, how about we just do this? Since I'm not contributing to anything else, I can't afford the extra $15. So I'll just add it in. I'll give you the $15. Just tell her it's fine. I'll give you the $15. It's fine. Because, I was friends with this girl for a long time and I'm not contributing to anything else. So I thought, I can't afford the extra $15. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So the bride was okay with it. Everyone was okay with it. She told that bridesmaid. The bridesmaid was okay with it. Whatever. Everything's fine. What ended up happening was because I did that, which I guess in a way was kind of stupid of me to do, being a nice person, the maid of honor kept asking me for money. Like, hey, how much can you contribute to the shower? How much can you contribute to the bachelorette party? And I told her I can't contribute nothing. Like we had that conversation. I really can't afford it. Okay, understand. 3 days later, hey, so how much can you contribute? So I got really stressed out over it because I, honest to God, couldn't contribute anything. And I'm like, dang, I was just trying to be nice.
Right.
Like I didn't even know the maid of honor knew that I was trying to help out with the other bridesmaid. So I spoke to the friend whose wedding I was in. I decided to have a conversation with her and I said, listen, this is what's going on. What do I do? And she straight up looked at me. She's like, drop out, leave. It's never going to end. You're going to have problems. They're not going to accept the $0 budget. So I had to drop out, which sucked. I just wish that was respected. I would have loved to be a part of my friend's day. But it is what it is. And then my other experience with money was as a maid of honor, technically, you're responsible to cover people if they cannot. So like if everyone has a budget and it's fine, that's awesome. If you start doing extras, so like for my sister, we did a bachelorette party. Everyone knew about it. Everything was fine. And then the thing was, we were trying to respect the vision that my sister wanted. So we wanted to go to New York. It's fun. It's still my sister. She's glamorous. Like, let's do something amazing in New York City. But like, how can we get to New York City and all be okay and together and not sweaty in heels? And because it was summer and we were wearing high heels, we were dressed up because we went to a Broadway show and dinner or lunch. Yes, it wasn't during the day. Cheaper during the day. New York hack, if you're listening, it's always cheaper during the day.
Yeah.
So I cannot imagine a group of 10 of us in high heel shoes and makeup glistening down our face with the sweatiness of August weather. And it gets very humid here.
Humid, yeah.
It's very humid. I don't think a lot of people understand that. It gets very humid. And I'm like, how can we do this and have everyone safe? And then also on top of that, we were having my elderly aunt and uncle who have disabilities. They physically can't walk that much. So I decided, you know what? We're gonna freaking like rent a limo and we're all gonna fit in a limo. And you know what? The price was amazing. And I gave everyone the option. I said, hey, this is what's happening. It's a last minute expense. Can you come to the limo? It's this much. Some of them said, no, I can't afford it. I'd just rather drive in. So I explained to them, okay, you're more than welcome to do that. But I did the math, and the difference between taking the limo and you going there, if you drive, which was what they were telling me they were going to do, is $10. So they're like, okay, let me think about it. And they all decided, you know what, forget it. I'll just go. Except for one bridesmaid who wanted to be with us. She was afraid to go alone. She couldn't afford anything, but she could only give me $30 shy of the asking price. And I said, that's fine. I'll cover it. Because as a maid of honor, that is your responsibility. If someone cannot afford it, like obviously I couldn't cover $30 of everyone. It's just a lot, like it's 10, like how many people eat? That's a lot of money. And I had just gotten married myself like 2 months prior. So yes, my sister and I had the same same season wedding in the same year. Season? I don't know. I got married May, she got married August, same year. So you know, expenses, it's a little tight. But something, I don't know, like I was able to figure it out. I was able to cover for a couple like there was a few things I had to cover, like a good 3 to 5 things, I don't remember, that I had to cover for bridesmaids. So as a maid of honor, essentially the whole point 5 hours later
Right.
is if you're, oh, thanks.
No. I'm like, as you're talking, I'm thinking about my maid of honor time.
Oh, okay.
It's actually very true. I had to cover a lot of stuff as a maid of honor.
Yeah, because sometimes people just really can't afford it because you have that budget.
Well, and then you have the people that just straight up think that that's not even part of their duties and they pretend.
Yeah, so like I'm sure, yeah. So you'll have like it because many things happen. Like you'll talk to someone, be like, this is the budget, this is how much you need to save. Can you save it? They'll say yes. Sometimes add-ons happen. Like I added a limo, and it's not because I was trying to be like super ostentatious about it or disrespectful to people's budget. It's like, how are we going to travel safely? Well, you can't really take an Uber.
No, there's so many of you. Yeah.
You can't rent a bus. The bus is more expensive. I can't put my elderly aunt and uncle with disabilities on a bus like that and then walk 5 blocks. Like New York boxes they're big. They're not small. So a limo was the best way to approach it. And it just worked out that it's a limo. It's nice. Sometimes, you know, people think, oh, that's ostentatious. If you do the math and the research, sometimes those ostentatious, and I say that with quotes, items are much more affordable than the, you know, dare I say, ghetto practical stuff.
Right.
So you just have to do your research. And then, and then there are cases where people go through life changes. Sometimes, like let's say in 3 months, you're going to get married in 3 months and everyone's okay with the budget, and then someone loses their job. What are you going to do? And they're already more than halfway invested financially in your wedding. So if you're going to be a maid of honor, take into consideration that most likely you're going to have to cover for people's butts, and it's just part of the job. So if you cannot afford that, do not, and I repeat, do not become a maid of honor.
Yep.
For love of God, don't do it.
Yep. I didn't know that. I should have.
Didn't I tell you?
Nope.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I thought you knew.
No, it's fine. I mean, it wasn't that big, like that big of a deal, but I didn't know that I was going to have to cover for people that didn't or couldn't contribute, or that just chose to ignore that part of the deal. And then of course I didn't want to upset the bride or just add any more burden, and I just, you know, you have to cover it. So I did, but I didn't know that was a thing, but it is.
That's crazy. I know that for my wedding, one of my bridesmaids had a financial problem halfway through, and she did talk to my sister about it, and my sister's, but the thing is, she was saying no to certain things, so my sister ended up having to tell me about it. Because that's the thing, like, remember, you're the bride. This is your circus, right? It's your monkey, it's your circus. So, like, you have to make sure that everything's running smoothly. Like, you're stressed, I get it, but you're choosing to add on bridesmaids. Maid of honor, she's not your manager that you're paying. She's not your personal assistant. She's there to help you out the best she can. I think bridesmaid of honor should be able to have the rights to talk to the bride. Like, if something's going on and someone's being difficult, one of the bridesmaids, within reason, if she cannot figure out a solution, she needs to talk to the bride who knows this difficult person. And then altogether things can be resolved. And my sister ended up having to talk to me, and I ended up reaching out to this friend of mine. I was like, what's happening? And she, vented about stuff. And I said, okay, you know what? So as a bride, I was able to tell her, you don't have to worry about like paying for your makeup. Don't worry about getting your makeup professionally done. My sister's really good at it. She'll help you. Just get the stuff that'll, make sure your foundation matches you.
Right.
Essentially, I didn't want to have like a racial problem. Sometimes she went too light, sometimes she went too dark. She wasn't very consistent. So she was able to get that done. She took that seriously. She went to Sephora and one of the people helped her. And then my sister that has some training in makeup because she works, in the fashion industry, she was able to help her out. But that's because she physically couldn't afford to pay the makeup artist. So instead of her paying the makeup artist, I'd rather her put that money into the wedding that she originally okayed with my sister involved, like my shower. And then I was able to like, okay, this is how we can resolve your makeup issue. So instead, put the money. So that's why I think it's important for brides to also like be involved if there is, because that's going to also happen.
Absolutely. So let us move along.
Yes, moving.
Number 3, another right that you have is your significant other is invited to the wedding. So, people that are planning their wedding, you should be letting all of your guests bring their significant others, because I love how this website put it. You are not the IRS. It is in 1927, and requiring that people be married or engaged or living together in order to be treated as a social unit is absurd.
I agree 100%. People get divorced. I don't think brides understand that. Like, you're inviting a couple to go to your wedding. If you're being so strict, what if 2 years from now they get a divorce? And then that couple that was dating is like happily married.
Right.
Things happen. I've had couples divorce since I've been married that were married at my wedding. They're not together anymore.
Right. It's true. And
it happens.
And the bridesmaids are gonna be busy. It's better that if they have their partner along, because there might be time that she's got some time, down, and perhaps she can spend that time with her partner, or maybe she's gonna have to run off from her bridesmaid duties to check on her needy partner. Like, you don't know that. You don't know people's relationships, so might as well just have them be there.
Let them have a plus one. It's not that serious. +1, because you know why? Because you love your friend, right? This friend that's dedicating money, time, and energy, give her that +1. It's fine. We'll survive. They don't need to be a part of your big, group photos when you do the bridesmaids. They don't have to be there. That's what's most important, right?
Right.
So it's fine. It's fine. Everyone will survive. Yes. Sometimes it's best to have peace and be happy than be right. Not that I'm saying that they're right, but if you feel you're right, and you are like becoming, no, I don't want to bring your boyfriend or whatever. Just be like, do I love this person? Do I want peace? Do I want to show her I appreciate her? Let her invite her SO. It's fine.
Yes.
Everyone will be fine.
Agreed.
Okay. Number 4, your body, may I say, your body is not a prop. It is not a prop. So the bride gets to pick a dress in your budget and ask you to wear it. Okay? It's fine. But bridesmaids are people, not props. Which is okay. That means that the bridesmaids can be like, hey, my boobs and I do not do strapless.
It's a dangerous combo. We do not do strapless, please.
Yes. And then expect the bride to pick a non-strapless gown for you. Or tell the bride that you're plus size and you need a plus size dress. It's fine. We are not, you're a person.
Yes.
Or if you have other modesty requirements, it's fine.
Yep.
You know, so just that's okay. Like you're allowed to vocalize that because you're also putting the money into this dress.
That's right.
Color, being picky about color, I think at that point I think you should just let it go because, you know, she has a thing going and she probably put money into the actual wedding. But
Right.
if the bride loves you, which she should, she's gonna make sure that the color looks flattering on you. Right? She's
Yep.
gonna make sure the dress looks flattering on you. She should be okay. And it also in reverse, let's say that you worked out really hard and you have this awesome bod now and you want a contour dress to show off the bod, but the bride is like, you know what, I personally don't really like that. I don't feel it's really modest, so I want an empire waist dress. Buy the empire waist dress, okay?
Yep.
Just as much as you expect her to be understanding of you, you should be understanding of her within
That's right.
reasons. Nobody's body is a problem.
At the end of the day, it is her wedding, and she gets to choose the type of dress and the type of style, as long as
color.
as long as it goes with your body, in your body type, and your skin color and stuff
Hopefully.
like that.
She should take that into consideration, but if she forgets for a moment and you're like a triple D and she wants you to wear a strapless gown, just be like, hey, I'm not gonna wear this because it's not gonna fit. And this is where you also have the option to drop out. She's being unreasonable. Because if she's gonna be obnoxious over something that small and not take into consideration, then you're probably gonna have a harder time in the near future. I would say drop out, like I did. The dress issue, it was like the budget kerfuffle. But yeah, brides should be reasonable. Bridesmaids should be reasonable. Like, let's be balanced about it. It's fine.
Yep. It's a group effort. Like, you have these people with you to make it easier, not to make it harder. And the other way around, you're there to support the bride, not to make it more difficult for her. So just communicate. Be peaceful, but communicate.
Number 5, you still have your own life to live. It's okay. It is okay to have a life. Like, obviously, when you accept the responsibility of being one, you should anticipate generally doing wedding stuff the full day of the wedding, attending the rehearsal dinner, being on time if you can. But you don't have to fly to like a shower or a bachelorette party or for the bridesmaids dress shopping or like, you know, like a luncheon. You don't have to be forced to do it. You shouldn't have to fly to them if you don't want to. I mean, if you can, awesome. For my wedding, I was very fortunate that my girls made the effort to come. I let them know you don't have to come to this. And I was 100% okay with that. Heck, I had one bridesmaid not show up to my pajama party the week of because she decided, you know what, I'm exhausted. I'm going to go on vacation. Did I really like that she did that? No, I thought it was a bit selfish. But did I tell her that? No. I said, you know what? You deserve it. Go. She was actually exhausted, you know? I think she could have waited, but she said she needed it. I love her. She looked tired. She was going through a hard time. So I said, go right ahead. Enjoy. I'll see you when you get back. Never once brought it up again.
Yep.
You know, I let it go.
Yeah, it's best to have peace.
Yeah, so don't, as a bride, don't freak out over it. As a bridesmaid, know that you know, you have a life, like you have a job, a job that you have to like stick to. You have responsibilities to pay for, you know. Yes, you have to make sure that you try to make time for the wedding stuff on the wedding day, the one day. So, you know, the wedding day is one day, but you do not owe a bride a year's worth of weekends, like ever, at all.
True. Very true. It's true.
Face got so serious. She's like laughing. Serious face is true.
I laugh because it's funny because it's true and it's real life. So I laugh because it's hilarious, but it's absolutely true. I agree 100%.
Yes. Last but not least, I love this one. You aren't an actual maid. Bum bum bum.
Seriously? How dare they not be maids?
Bridesmaid, bride's girl. That's what it means. Maiden, maid, not a physical like slave, basically. You know,
not a Cinderella story.
And if you're gonna be serious about it, maid, you pay a maid.
Yeah, hire somebody.
You're not paying these people. For the most part, some brides do that, by the way. That's a story for another day.
Put a pin on that.
Yes, pinning. You aren't an actual maid. You're there for moral and emotional support, not manual labor. It is not your job to set up the chairs or break down the room. If you can, that's awesome. Bride should ask, hey, can you help if they need the help? You know, I think as a bridesmaid, kind of, it's okay depending on what she's asking you to do. Like, she's like, hey, because that's the thing. Like, when we did the wedding showers, we all had to contribute in setting up the place and putting away the garbage so we wouldn't have to pay extra for the rental. I think in that situation, it shouldn't really be a big deal. Unless you have like a physical reason why you can't lift certain weight because of a health issue, or what they be. But it's not like you shouldn't be forced to like climb up a ladder
Right.
and hang like a ball because she wants you to,
Right.
yes. So like you're there to bustle the dress, fluff the flower girls, carry a bouquet, provide emotional support. And if you want to help out more than that, awesome, enjoy. But if you aren't on call manual labor just because the word maid is in your title, let her know. Like, no, I can't help. It's
Yes.
okay. So yeah, that's that about that. So these are your bill of rights as a bridesmaid.
That's a good one. That was a really good article. And as always, you guys know that that's gonna be posted on the description below so you can read it in further detail. But sometimes you're not sure if you want to be a bridesmaid. So what do you think if we do tea time?
I think we should. I think we definitely should right now.
Okay, let's do tea time. It is tea time.
Tea time.
So tea time is when we answer one question that has been submitted to us by one of our listeners.
Yes, today's question was sent to us by Anonymous. Thank you so much, Anonymous. We appreciate you sending the question. Thank you.
Thank you.
So their question is, I was asked to be a bridesmaid, but I want to say no. How do I do that without offending my friend?
There is ways to do it. Of course, feelings might be a little hurt, but there's polite ways to do it without offending your friend. So Mela have found a couple of really good articles about like how to say no and when to say no. So right now we're gonna briefly talk about like when to say no. And one of those was if you need to think about it. So if you propose to a bridesmaid and it's not, you haven't really talked about it or anything, don't feel pressure to answer right in the moment. If you really need to think about it, or if perhaps your first instinct is to say no, or if you need to check your bank account, let the bride know that you're so incredibly flattered that she's asking, and just ask if she can give you a few days to make sure you'll be able to be the best bridesmaid possible that she deserves. So let her know, don't leave her hanging, do answer. So set a firm deadline. You can say, I'll call you Friday, or I'll call you Saturday, or I'll call you Tuesday, or what do you think if we meet up and have drinks, or let's have dinner? So don't drag her along, just think about it, but be firm and let her know, take a look at what you got going on and just make an educated decision.
Remember the power of no. We had an episode on it. Do you need like tips on how to say no in a polite way?
Go back and listen to it, and we can always do a part 2 on that. But you can just let the bride to be no, that if you have to say no, that you have a lot on your plate and that you don't want all of the things on your schedule to affect her celebration.
Yeah. So another thing, you should say no if you're unable to actually commit. No, because that's the thing. Like sometimes we have things going on. So like maybe there's a project at work. Maybe there's a family thing that's happening. Maybe we're going on a big trip. Maybe someone's getting married. Maybe it's you getting married. So just your time is also valuable. And let those commitments you already have determine whether you can devote extra time to being a part of your friend's bridal party. So make sure she knows you'll do your best to make time for any pre-wedding events she might invite you to. But like, you know, if you really cannot commit, just do not do it. It is a side job. Like, just don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it.
No.
So another reason to say no, it's if you're low on cash. And as we just talked a little bit earlier, right? Buying a dress, accessories, hair, makeup, gifts, travel, bridal shower, bachelorette party, all that stuff can add up really fast. So that might be money that you just don't have to spend if you just cannot afford it. And so it's okay to be a little vulnerable if you just cannot afford it, to just make sure that that the bride gets the care and love that she needs from other people that could be really helpful in that day. So let the bride know about your financial situation. If you're saving for a down payment, or perhaps you didn't get a raise, let her know. Or if your car is having trouble, you need to have your priorities. So you want to be there for her big day, but if you just cannot commit because you don't have enough cash flowing right now, that's okay. But I love how this website said we're all adults here, so financial responsibility should be admired. So if you just cannot afford it because it's not within your budget, that's okay. That's a good thing.
It should be okay. Another thing, if you're expecting, so okay, some people can totally be in a wedding pregnant. Good for you. Others cannot, and we cannot compare. So don't compare. So the thing is, if you're trying to get pregnant, maybe you should be honest and tell her, hey, I'm trying to get pregnant. Because if you're going to be in your first trimester during your friend's wedding, there's just a lot going on. Morning sickness can happen, discomfort. Like, things happen. I've never been pregnant, but I've heard stories. So, that's something to consider. And then, like, if you're going to buy a dress and you're going to have to keep alterating it to fit your body, that's also, like, it's difficult. It's expensive. If you keep, having to alterate. And then it's just like between the pregnancy and emotionally what that does to you, and physically what that does to you, and hormonally, and then having to do with all the responsibilities of being a bridesmaid, it sounds like a bit overwhelming. I know one person that was pregnant in a wedding, and she was just in such a bad mood all the time, and because she was just not well. So, it can be overwhelming. Be honest with your friend and let her know what's on your mind. She'll be happy to have you comfortable and seated at the ceremony. That's it.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. If you can't, you can't. If you can, great. But be honest. Maybe there's a compromise the bride can do. I don't know. But really take that into consideration.
Absolutely. And the last one, it's if you're planning your own wedding. So if you're planning your own wedding, and perhaps you think, hey, planning my own wedding at the same time as one of my besties, like that sounds like a lot of fun. Think about it, because you both have loaded calendars, stretched budgets, and 1,000 things to do in a to-do list. So it might sound fun to be bridesmaids at each other's wedding, but you should just really think carefully before you commit, because it just might not work. You have a lot of things to do, a lot on both of your plates. So it's just best to let your friend know ASAP that you just cannot do it. And as a bride herself, she should understand that you have a lot on your plate. And actually, if you are able to make it to each other's wedding day, that should make each other happy. So I think that's a good thing.
So now that you know when to consider not being one, how can you say no without losing your friend? Because now this is kind of where it gets sticky. So there's 3 tips. 1, be frank. Be honest. She's your friend. She loves you, right? It's okay to ask how much it will cost you if the bride hasn't done it, which I think the bride should already. So do it. If this is someone where you feel close enough to hold up all her dresses when she's peeing. And if you guys shared so many secrets, she should be able to give you an idea of how much it is, because it can be a burden financially. So if you can't afford it, it's okay to say, okay, well, I just can't afford it. We also have ways to explain it. So like the article goes deeper. So there's a whole section that talks about how to play the money card honestly, because we also don't want to lie to our friends because we love them. And here Gratz, which is the who is Gratz? the oh my god, who is Gratz? Who is Gratz?
I have no idea.
Lisa Gratz. Okay, she's a San Francisco-based etiquette expert. She has actual tips of how to politely say no without losing your friend. And I like the way that it's done here because she does a script. So like, for example, I'm going to give an example of this. Say that you lost your job, right? So, and it's a destination wedding and you just can't afford it or whatever. Her script example is, Charlotte, I am so honored that you asked me to be in your wedding. This isn't easy for me to say, but I'm unable to accept your gracious invitation. You're a close friend and I would love to have some role in your big day, but I just lost my job and I haven't had the nerve to tell anyone, not even my family. With the stress of no future income, I can't possibly take on all the costs associated with being a bridesmaid. I hope you understand your friendship means the world to me, but the last thing you need is to feel my stress during one of the happiest times in your life. So this is an example. They have many other ones. We're not going to go down all of them. We're going to put this, it's wellandgood.com. We're going to leave it in the description down below. So if you feel like to take a look at it, like you want to help you, please do, because these scripts are phenomenal. They're very tactful and yeah, and it's honest, which I like. We want to be honest with everything we do, right? So
yeah, Lisa has done a fantastic job. So if you want like just an idea on how to say no, definitely take a look at those scripts. So the next tip was to always be kind so you don't have to rewind. So I love that. Saying no, it's okay as long as it's done gently and with good reason, Lisa says. So don't immediately get defensive about why you cannot play the part. So just be polite, be soft, be thoughtful and measured so you can present your reasons for being unable to fulfill the commitment in the manner the bride clearly wants and also deserves for it to play out. Because, whether or not you personally agree with her preference, it is her day.
Agreed, 1,000,000%. Be tactful.
Just how, if you were in that situation, how would you want somebody to tell you? Always, the golden rule. So do that.
Who's also really good to ask brides, like people that were brides, people got married, ask them how when you got married, if like, that's what I did, right? I didn't even know this existed when I did that. I was really stressed out. I couldn't afford to be at my friend's wedding. So I asked my friend who had just gotten married the month prior or whatever. And I was like, this is what's going on. What should I say? How should I go about it? How can I be polite? Like, what would you have wanted? And she totally helped me. She gave me a script and everything. That's literally what I said. And it worked really well. My bride and I stayed friends. She was so cool about it that she actually just wanted me to still be part of it without actually being a bridesmaid. So I was invited to all the festivities. I was invited to even help her, to be with her when she was getting ready. Like I actually showed up at the room, saw her get her makeup done. It was really nice. And they didn't have to get up at the crack of dawn, which was a nice bonus. Yeah. Then I went with them on their photo shoots. I think I took one picture with her, but that's it, like professionally. But it was really nice. She's like, help the photographer make sure he has all the details down. She spoke to a photographer before because I did photography too in my past, and my family, they're like a bunch of photographers. So she knew I had that eye. And the photographer she hired was also a friend. So it's not like she like overwhelmed a professional like that she didn't know. She was paying the friend too. And she spoke to him and I knew who he was. We were friends too. And she was like, can Mela come and like help you with little details? Like, make sure the collar isn't rolled or like that the veil looks elegantly placed in the fingers, like that kind of thing. Yeah. So, and number 3. I'm back. Sorry.
Oh, I was like, I lost you. What just happened?
I just adjusted my. Sorry for everyone. I just screamed at. I was adjusting.
It just suddenly went on mute. She muted herself on her microphone. I was like, tech. What just happened?
Why does this sound weird? Like
I'm like, Mayday, Houston. We have a problem. Houston, where's Houston? I lost Houston.
I'm here.
Oh, Houston.
Houston's here. I'm here, y'all.
Here, Houston.
Oh my goodness. I was adjusting the headset from my ear, was squishing it. I'm like, this is uncomfortable. Let me adjust accordingly. Bad mood. Making sure you guys are on your feet. Okay.
What did you just say? You spoke so fast. What did you just say? She's laughing too hard. She can't.
Sure, you're on your feet.
You wanted to make sure I was on my feet. Okay.
Yes.
I am awake.
You and everyone involved.
I'm pretty sure every listener was just like, what just happened? And they all checked their phones to make sure like their phone didn't die.
Made you look.
Make sure their phone didn't die. They didn't press mute on pause on purpose. Their headphones disconnected, like their Bluetooth went dead.
This is a lot of stuff, but anyway, going back.
Oh, hilarious.
Oh,
Number 3, come on.
Number 3. If you know from the get-go that you cannot be in the wedding, then just say no and do it soon. I had invited a groomsman in my wedding, and he graciously accepted. Never showed, like, was making it difficult to get things done. Like, and I was like, he's like making it hard. So I reached out to him. I was like, hey, so I'm gonna ask you bluntly, I love you. And but I need to know, can you actually be in my wedding, or is it a burden on you?
Yeah.
And he told me it's a burden, like financially. So I'm like, okay, why didn't you just tell me? He was afraid that I was gonna be mad at him, not want to be his friend anymore. And that, to me, it was just so insane that's even a thought. But apparently brides do that. And I was just like, no, I love you. Like, I just want you, like, can you even afford to go to my wedding? Because I got married out of the country. And he said, oh yeah, absolutely, I could totally fly there. I'm like, okay, that's all I care about. I just want you there. Like, I don't care if you're in the bridal party or not. Like, I invited you because I love you. But please, by no means will this affect our friendship. And it never did. Like, we're still friends. So if you know from the get-go you cannot be in the wedding, just don't. Because honestly, as much as I love him, as much as I took that into consideration, he stressed me out so much. And then on top of that, it's kind of like he wasted my time in a way, because not that like I'm like angry at him for it, but it's like, you know, he said for a month he could, and then you just took away a month of savings that somebody else could have saved to be in my wedding. So like I had to like throw someone else in it kind of like last minute, and like obviously we didn't ask them to contribute to it, so then the poor best man maid of honor had to like pay for that. It just like became such a burden that he and my friend didn't think about it, because he's just like, dang, I'm just gonna like
some of those things we just don't know. I mean, it could have been his first wedding too. I mean,
it was not.
Well, never
but so I was kind of thrown off. So if you cannot be from the get-go at the wedding, like as a bridesmaid or whatever, say no. It's understandable if you say yes initially, but due to more pressing unforeseen issues requiring your time and money, if you have to switch your answer, just do it. We can't predict the future, and a good friend won't hold that against you. And I promise you that's the true case. Yes. I had another couple, the last one that I said no to, they were deciding to take on some things that made me very uncomfortable. So, and I saw that it was super disorganized. I just didn't want to do. So I was honest with him. I said, I can't be in your wedding. Yeah. I said it immediately. 2 weeks in, I let him know. And he was really understandable, like understanding. And we stayed friends still. He helped me get a job later on. Like you know, if the people really love you, it shouldn't be an issue. If you know from day one you can't handle bridesmaid duties, don't be a hero. Tell the bride instead of letting her know a month before the wedding.
Exactly. Do it as soon as possible.
Yeah, this way the bride-to-be can move on, find somebody else to replace you, figure out financially, or like if she like if oh my gosh, like me, I had all my bridesmaids had a job, like to keep everything running smoothly. So, you know, take that into consideration, please.
That's right. So we hope that this has helped you, Anonymous. We hope that you're able to say no without offending your friend, and that you can continue being close friends with them.
We threw all the tea bags at you, so we unpacked and we left it.
Oh, so funny. So that wraps up the tea time portion for today. If you would like to have one of your questions featured on one of our upcoming episodes, please go on our website and fill out the portion under tea time. You can DM us, or send us a message under the tea time question on Spotify if you're listening on Spotify.
All right. So now let's talk about how can brides make sure that they're picking the right people for the wedding? So we found in brides.com 5 rules for choosing your bridesmaids and groomsmen, not just bridesmaids, groomsmen too. So how can we do this in a way? All right. So best practice, start with siblings.
Yep.
Yes. Family first is the best thing. Include your siblings on this way. You're perfect on the, including your siblings is a perfect way to start choosing your bridesmaids and groomsmen. If they're much younger and you prefer to have them serve as ushers or junior attendants, but if they're close to your age, definitely give them the full-blown honor. Okay? There's nothing stopping a bride from making her brother a bridesman or a groom from making a sister a groom's lady. These are things now. That's okay too. It's your wedding. That's the thing. People don't realize it's your wedding. You're paying for it. There's no actual rule in a constitution that's like, if you don't follow through, lightning will zap and kill you on your wedding day. Like, this is not a thing. You can do things as you please. So yeah, I had there's people sometimes that you don't have enough bridesmaids or groomsmen around, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's you don't need to have a certain amount, but you don't need to have any at all if you choose not to.
And I get it. It's like, oh, the aesthetic in pictures, but like when 10 years, 3 years, 2 years even down the road, you don't care about that. You're just going to look like, I'm so grateful that I still talk to this person. Because guess what? A lot of times you don't talk to certain bridesmaids or groomsmen anymore. They just, things happen. You know, people, it's a story for another day, but like people get jealous sometimes when you get married and then you don't have that friend anymore. Just saying, which is I learned that. I was like, whoa, that's a thing. Yeah.
Crazy.
So siblings.
Start with them. So the next one is to emphasize reliability. You know, you may not need your bridesmaid or groomsmen to participate too much in your planning, in planning your wedding, but there's gonna be moments when you're gonna need to know you can count on them. So if you have a friend that almost never calls you back or constantly shows up late when you have plans, they may not be the right person for the job, especially with bridesmaid dresses, order deadlines, timelines for the day of your wedding. You might want to lean towards the friends who will answer your emails, your calls, your texts, show up when you need them or a few minutes early, and probably be more prepared than you. So you definitely want to take that into consideration.
Another thing to do is consider personalities. So before you send out to speak to everyone and be like, hey, can you be in my wedding? Think how your wedding party is going to get along. Okay, that's actually something very serious because it's a high emotional situation and these people are going to work together ideally to help you.
Right.
Not everyone has to be besties, right? But if you know there's one person on your list that has a very strong or abrasive personality, they're quick to fight, they're nasty, they rub people the wrong way, that's potential drama you'll want to avoid if you can. So like if you can, for the love of God, just do it. Okay. A tip, aim for a group of bridesmaids and groomsmen who are friendly and cordial. You know, that down to earth, easy to get along with, calm. You want those people in your wedding in general.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna need them because you're gonna have very stressful situations. You're gonna need that calm and easygoing people to kind of ground you back, to bring you right back down. Yeah, I think that's just an easy thing. Well, not an easy, it's just a very good thing to have in mind. The next one is to be mindful of budget. So of course, like we have talked already, being a bridesmaid or a groomsman, it is expensive, even if you decide to pay for their accommodations or you're chipping in for their suits or their dresses. Still between flights, gifts, bachelor and bachelorette, all that stuff adds up.
Which, by the way, can I say, for gifts, there's a couple things I don't think a lot of people know. There's like a rule, and I'm saying it with quotes. So if you're the bridesmaid, that is your gift. Like people don't really realize that you don't actually have to give a gift the day of the wedding. For bridal showers, it's different though. Usually the best thing that they recommend is everyone chip in for one nice gift or you could give a smaller gift. I unfortunately have been in a lot of weddings where the people didn't want to chip in for one gift, which I thought was so dumb because you could just spend $10, $15.
Right.
But they didn't want to do that. So I went for like a cheaper item, like, you know, an iron. Because you know, I can't. We can't do it all. But go ahead, carry on.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, carrying on with this one little tip. So if you know all that stuff really does add up. So if you know that your friend is in a tough financial spot, you know, talk to them, talk it over before making it an official ask, like before you actually make them officially part of the wedding, talk to them. You know, you can let them know that you'd love to include them, but if they cannot afford it, that there's, you know, a few alternative ways for them to be involved if joining the wedding party might be too expensive. So, you know, very close friends, you know, they make fantastic readers. They could give toast if you want to have a toast at your wedding, if that's something you just do, or at the rehearsal dinner. And they could also hand out programs or serve like as ushers at the ceremony. There's ways to include your close friends if they cannot be part of your wedding party because they cannot afford it because of their budget.
Mm-hmm. And then last but not least, please take in consideration, think about feelings. People have feelings, right? Mm-hmm. So sometimes having fewer bridesmaids or groomsmen is the easiest way to make sure no one gets their feelings hurt. So it's something you want to take into consideration. So family is always the best way, in my opinion, to go about it. It also depends on your family dynamics. I know not everyone has a healthy family dynamic, but in general, those that do, it's usually the safer way to go about it because it's family. If you are choosing to have a huge, you know, bridal party, and you're committed to that and you want a lot of people, and there's one friend on the fringe, you might be better off including one more than leaving them out, just to keep the peace. So, but yes, so hopefully that's been of help to everyone. Remember, at the end of the day, a wedding is to celebrate joy and love and the union of these amazing people that you love. And brides, remember that you love your friends, and that's why you invited them to be part of your special day.
Be mindful of each other. Be mindful of the people that you're inviting to be part of this, of your wedding day, and, you know, bridesmaid and groomsmen. Be mindful of the bride to be and of their emotions. And there's a lot of stress. Don't take things personally. Be open to conversation. Be ready to be honest and express the things that you're ready to do and you're not ready to do or cannot do. So be open with each other, be honest, be tactful, because at the end of the day, like Mela said, you love these people and you do want to keep them in your life. That is it for our podcast today. Thank you so much for listening. We sincerely hope you liked it.
We would love to know what you thought about our episode, so feel free to please leave a comment. Feel free to let us know what topics you would like for us to discuss in the future.
Please subscribe, give us a like, a follow, and or a 5-star rating. If you want to hear more episodes like this one, please follow us on every social media platforms at Chatty Amigas.
Thank you so much for listening, Chiquis. We will be back every Tuesday with the tea.
Bye!